What is going on, guys? Dork Gaming here, and I want to jump back from the subject of the video real quick and say that I am sorry that I did not upload anything this past week. My OCD is just kicking in right now, and I really need to say something because I did want to upload something, but I didn't exactly know what. I mean, I'm still waiting on that copyright issue with Activision. I don't want to get anything else wrong there, so I didn't upload anything Black Ops 3 related. I didn't have anything very awesome or specific on Paragon, so I didn't have much to upload there. And I'm still trying to go through Borderlands 2 as my current zero, and I'm debating whether or not I should start a completely fresh campaign and record that on Borderlands 2, or if I should record my first time jumping into Ultimate Vault Hunter mode. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But anyway, I'm sorry for the delay. Let's get on with the video, which is stealth XP farming in Warframe. This is one of my last 3 videos that I'm working on. The second video is probably gonna take a long ass time because it's a lot of footage and I don't have control over when I'm gonna get that footage because it's sortie related, and thus I need to wait for sorties to be friendly with me. And the last one is a little bit of a secret that I'm working on. I'm hoping that you guys will actually thoroughly enjoy that video. But anyway, so, first of all, what you will need is an Ivara with the build that I showcased, or a similar build that works for you. Personally, this build that I showcased works for me. Maybe it doesn't for you, however. And you also need Xeneric for the energy regen. I didn't showcase that, but you will need Xeneric in your stealth XP runs, really. I'm just rambling on now. In the case that you want to level up a melee weapon, as you see in the footage right now, all you really need is your sleep arrows just to go ahead and put the enemies to sleep, and you just go on them and do stealth finishers, because stealth finishers do a lot of damage. Usually you'll get to kill the enemy in a single shot. Sometimes you may end up needing 2 hits, but either way, it should be pretty easy unless the weapon you're using is pretty bad. And if you only have one weapon, I'm pretty certain it's one of the more difficult weapons to get, and most difficult weapons to get are actually very good, so there's that. And by the way, when you're looking at this part of the gameplay, I actually got shot by the 2 Grenier right there, and I shot a sleep arrow at them. I didn't know why they didn't go to sleep, but I was just baffled at the point. But anyway, what you want to mostly do is, first of all, make sure you know which of the stealth animation or the finishers that you can execute is faster. And what I mean with that is, as you will see in most occasions, I go from the front. And the reason is that with dual swords, the front finisher is faster than the back finisher. And the front finisher is the one that you just saw and you see again here. The back finisher is this one. And as you can clearly see, the front finisher is much faster than the back finisher. And that's very important because you have a limited duration on your sleep arrow, and it's very important for you to know which one of the finisher animations is faster. Now, of course, if it's the front animation, you're kind of at tough luck because you need to sleep the enemy to do that animation. Otherwise, you're simply going to alarm them and bye-bye stealth multiplier. But anyway, in the case that it's the back finisher, you're pretty much solid, but there's always that one time where maybe it's the front finisher and not the back finisher that is faster. But that's pretty much it. You just basically want your sleep arrows to put everyone to sleep and just go to town and hit everybody. And you just want to basically constantly keep your 500% XP multiplier up. Now, because there's not much else to say for the specific way, I'm gonna go ahead and give some generic tips as to how stealth farming works. Now, on your minimap, you should usually have these triangles. These triangles are your enemies. And that is, of course, if you have enemy map, I believe. I have not run a mission without that in so long, so please forgive me if you don't get the triangles without enemy map, but you should have that on anyway. So, when the triangle is empty, that means that the enemy is unalerted. But if there is something filling up the triangle, then that means that the enemy is alert, and he might be looking around for something that you did. Maybe he saw a corpse, maybe he heard something, and maybe you touched him while you were cloaked, and that could also be a reason why they're alert. Now, if the triangle is full, that means that the enemy is full on alert, he knows that you're around, and you should not touch any of these two types of alert cases. When they're unalerted, you can go in, do the stealth animation, or just stab them to death, and that's it. You'll have yourself a kill and nothing wrong. Now, as you saw right here, I did something that you should never do. When your enemy wakes up, you should instantly put them back to sleep. Instead, I got a little cocky and I tried to hit them before the wake up animation finished, and they woke up, and thus I didn't get a stealth kill and I lost my multiplier. Now, what you saw right there, I skipped the enemy behind me because he knew I was there. Here's a fun fact for your sleep arrow. It can reset enemy alert levels. So this is why I don't go for very high duration, because with very high duration you might need to wait way too long for the enemy to wake up again and you'll lose your multiplier, or B, you've got a lot of enemies around and they're on different sleep arrows. And what I like to do in that case is go into Prowl, which is your cloak, and just use my noise arrow to bring everybody around. I think you'll see that at some point in the gameplay. And when everybody's around, I just do the cloak, get everybody into one cloak arrow, and that way I know that if I keep track of the timer that I see on the bottom right of the screen, that's the timer for everybody's sleep, so I don't need to worry about some guys waking up faster or waking up slower than the timer showcases. What else could I possibly say? Oh, keep track of enemy movement patterns, because that could also help you into getting around without alarming anybody, because again, if you touch an enemy, that will instantly put them into the first alarmed state where they're curious and they're looking around because you touched them. So keep that in mind, and if you find yourself in a room with a lot of enemies and they're spread out a lot and you can't hit them with a single cloak arrow, I'd say go into Prowl, use your noise arrow instead to bring everybody into one spot, and then use your sleep arrow to just put them all to sleep and start killing from the outer ring. So say they're like a bunch of them in one spot, start killing from outside and move towards the inside of the group. And I'm thinking of something else to say when it comes to stealth attacks with melee weapons, but I can't really think of much, so let's move on to actual weaponry, which is your primary and secondary weapons, because those work differently. Now, when it comes to weapons, you should always keep in mind that not all weapons are alarming. Some weapons, like bows, and in the case of secondary weapons, the Rocta Ballistica as an example, are innately silent. In those cases, you don't really need to do much. You just basically put on any damage amplifying mods that you can find and walk into the mission. But we'll get on to how you do the mission later on. Now, in the case of the weapons that are alarming by base, in those cases you want to add a hush for primaries or whatever the secondary mod is. I can't remember it right now. I think it's suppress, but I may be wrong. Anyway, you want to add that mod into the weapon so it does not attract attention, because that makes your life instantly 100 times harder when it comes to farming XP in the stealth way. And this is easily shown in the gameplay now, where I got my the necessary XP for my dual cleavers, so I'm using my Czar to finish off the mission. And my Czar is alarming, so every time I shoot, the enemies can hear it. And in the case where I didn't sleep everyone, those other enemies will hear the shot and they will become alarmed. And that instantly removes the capability for you to do stealth attacks on them. In other words, just shoot them in the face until they die. And the reason is because when they get alarmed by a gunshot, it gets buggy, and in some occasions you may put them to sleep and wait for the sleep timer to run out so they become unalarmed, but they will still be alarmed. The game will still count them as alarmed even though it shows you that they are unalarmed. Case in point, this Elite Lancer right here. He was unalarmed, but I shot him and lost my stealth kill affinity bonus. And the same thing went there with the what you call it, anyway, that Grineer unit. I am sorry guys, I just completely lost track of what I was going there. But anyway, the first thing that you want to do, no matter how overpowered your weapon is, put the enemy to sleep, because when they're asleep, they're logged into the animation that they were in. So if they were, say, unalarmed, because they're asleep, it doesn't matter, they will still be asleep. And something that I actually forgot to mention a little while ago, when they're in the wake up animation, even if they're waking up, unless the animation finishes, then they will still be unalerted. So you can still get your stealth kills while they're waking up. Just keep in mind that impact procs will reset the animation and will instantly put them in alarmed state. So if you've got a weapon that can do impact procs, do not hit them while they're waking up and in the waking animation. Wait and put them back into sleep. Now, another thing that you need to keep in mind is the enemy weak points. Now, since I showcased Adaro as the mission that I did, and I honestly recommend that you should do Adaro yourself, it's probably the easiest stealth XP mission, you mostly just want to aim for the head. But there are the cases where the enemy is really high in armor, like bombards or napalms, and those can take a lot of shots, especially if your weapon is not that strong. So do keep in mind that when you put them to sleep, they may not be killed. You may not have enough time to kill them, and if you take only a portion of their health away and not all of it, then they will wake up. And if your weapon is weak enough to the point where that actually happens, you need to be careful, because you will lose a lot of your bonus XP. Case in point with the impact proc thing, I had a lot of cases where I was shooting a bombard and an impact proc happened as he was waking up, and I lost my stealth XP bonus just because of that impact proc and because he was on the wake up and I was using a low damage weapon. Now, since we're on the end of the video, these enemies right here, Eximus units, you need to leave these guys for last. Get your 500% XP multiplier up if you see them around the mission, and there's always going to be 2 of them at the end, by the way, and just kill them after you get the maximum amount of bonus XP from your stealth kills, because that just means a lot more XP for you. And again guys, as I previously said, this is effectively a 2 run for 30 levels, which is really fast in my opinion, and especially since you're doing this solo as well and you don't need to do a CAD with other 4 people. But anyway guys, that's all I have for you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like. If you didn't, please do give it a dislike. And if you enjoyed it that much that you'd like to see more, please consider subscribing. It's the best way for you to keep up with the videos that I'll be uploading. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.